Once upon a time, a mouse, a bird, and a sausage lived together in harmony, each performing tasks to benefit the group. Every day the bird was to fly into the forest to fetch wood, the sausage was to do the cooking, and the mouse was to carry water, make the fire, and set the table. All were happy with the arrangement until one day the bird, flying out in the forest, came upon another bird and boasted of his arrangement with the mouse and sausage. The other bird laughed at him, saying he'd been taken a fool doing all the work while his friends did little. This made the bird reflect. He recalled how the mouse, after carrying her water, would go to her room to rest until she was called out to set the table. He thought of the sausage sitting on his stool by the cooking pot, not moving except to slide himself through the vegetables for salting and flavoring when it came time to eat. Now the bird began to think himself ill-used. When he went home that day, he told his companions he was done being their servant and wanted to change the arrangement. The mouse and sausage argued against this, but the bird was stubborn, eventually prevailing on the others to draw lots for their new tasks. The sausage drew the lot to fetch the wood, the mouse drew the lot to cook the food, and the bird drew the lot to collect the water. The next day, with their new tasks assigned, the sausage went out to fetch the wood while the bird started the fire and the mouse put the kettle on. The sausage was gone for such a long time that an uneasy feeling came over the bird and mouse, and the bird flew out to find him. Not far from home, the bird met a dog and asked if she had seen the sausage go by. The dog gave a wry smile.
Yes, I've seen a sausage. In fact, I ate it.
The bird screamed.
Ha! That's highway robbery! Ha! I want justice!
But the dog maintained the sausage was carrying forged documents and had to pay for this with his life. There was nothing for the bird to do but gather the wood himself and return home with a heavy heart. He told the mouse what had happened, and though they were both full of sorrow, they decided to keep going as best they could. While the bird set the table, the mouse prepared the meal, climbing into the pot to salt and season the food as the sausage had done. But before she'd even reached the middle of the vegetables, she got stuck, her hair and skin burning until she lost her life. When the bird came back to serve the dinner, he could not find the mouse anywhere. He frantically called for her, scattering wood about the house in his search, but no one answered. He was too distressed to notice the wood catching fire until the fire spread and the house went up in flames. Flying to the well to fetch some water, the bird's bucket slipped, falling down the dark hole and dragging the bird along with it. He struggled to free himself, calling out for help, but no one could hear him. All alone, the bird was left to drown. So that was a little dark. And you know, so many of these Grimm stories are. It kind of makes you wonder why they're published for children. Well, it made me wonder anyway. So I went and did a little digging, and it turns out they weren't. See, the brothers Grimm actually lived during the Napoleonic Wars when French were taking over Germanic lands. And like so many of their contemporaries, philosophers, artists during the Romantic period, the Grimm brothers felt this driving need to preserve their culture and heritage. The brothers Grimm believed the purest forms of culture could be found in stories shared from generation to generation. So if you ever find yourself a little weirded out by some of these grisly, darker elements in the fairy tales, at least take comfort knowing that they weren't written as morality tales meant to scare kids into being obedient. Well, not exclusively anyway. But go ahead and share your take on what the moral of this story is in the comments below, and I will see you next time.